In the studio now, I have a young and up-and-coming politician, to say the least. I promised you earlier that we would get Briggita Jónsdóttir, the captain of the Pirates, the pirate captain, in here, and she's here. Welcome, Briggita.
Thank you very much. And I'm actually not a politician, but a poetician.
You're a poetician. Exactly. When I looked you up in the phone book, you were listed as a poet, not a politician. So you're a poetician. And I really have just to start by saying congratulations. The latest polls, which we got news of this morning, 29% of the people say they would vote for you now. I mean,
wow.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I just can't fathom it yet inside. We are very surprised, but we understand that people are showing that they are discontent with traditional politics. And I think it's very important that the current government and the other minority parties try to sort of hear this call for changes. Mm-hmm. And it's actually very interesting. I was in London at a conference called Future Fest last weekend, speaking with two other parties that are scoring really high in Europe, Podemos from Spain and the Five Star Movement from Italy. Uh-huh. And they are trying to do similar experiments like the Pirate Party, and have actually developed it really well to engage people in e-democracy. Like they have electronic parliament in Italy, and the Podemos have like a database where people can get engaged that is that has as many people as are in Iceland, like 300,000. And the interesting thing was that after our panel, there were some representatives from the traditional parties in the UK. There was a guy from the Labour Party and the leader of the Green Party. And it is so hard. Like the Green Party leader wanted to sort of embrace the call for more direct democracy, whereas the guy from the Labour Party basically said, when somebody asked, well, if you're not willing to change, you realize that you will, your fate will be like the dinosaurs.
Exactly.
And he basically said, yes.
Okay.
So it looks like if it's a trend in the world. It's not only in Iceland, and just happened to be the Pirate Party here, but it's a call for more direct engagement, which is fantastic.
Do you look at this as direct following your position, or more as you say, a call for change for the other parties? Well,
I think that it's a mix of everything. There is no one concrete answer. If I listen to all the political advisors and experts in Iceland, they all give different answers. And I think the most common sense one is that basically people are sick of this sort of professional politicians that all talk the same. They are sort of distant from the general public, and they all become different personalities when they get inside the parliament. And I think people feel reassured that we just talk like any other people, and we're not pretending to be anything else than we are. And of course it's an incredibly encouraging for others that are a party with 3 parliamentarians with 5% in the elections. We're getting possibilities to explain our policies, our core policies. So that is wonderful, and I think it should be an encouragement for others that are sick of their traditional societies to learn maybe from this and use this as an example to feel motivated.
Give us the short version of what the Pirates are actually. I mean, you are new in the parliament since just 2 years ago. How did you form this movement?
Well, I helped create another party 6 years ago in the wake of the crisis. And while I was working with that party, I started to focus very much on 21st century lawmaking, because most of our laws are influenced by the fact that there are no borders anymore. So I felt that it would be important to have in Iceland a strong base for journalists to be able to inform the general public, so we wouldn't have the same situation as before the crisis, that we have strong whistleblowing laws, that we would have source protection, that we would protect intermediaries. And I come from a tech background. I used to weave webs since '96, so I'm a geek on top of being a poet, and to have sort of tools to keep power accountable and the general public informed. I couldn't feel enough support for that in my old party, so at one board meeting for an institute that I created called the International Modern Media Institute, I said, well, why shouldn't we just create Pirate Party? They seem to be adopting our policy in other countries, the policy of the Icelandic Modern Media Initiative, and then we just started to look at all the other stuff that the other pirates around the world had been doing. It was originally created in Sweden in 2006. And we looked at, we wanted to have a very short and simple policy that would embrace basic human rights. And so we feel it is very important that individuals are not sort of put in under the nanny state.
Mm-hmm.
We think it is important that people have access to policy making and direct democracy, but in order to do so, they have to be able to have access to information so they can make informed decisions. We feel that the general public should be more engaged, and we want to create the tools for them to be engaged. We feel very strongly about the new constitution that was written by and for the people of Iceland and was sort of put in coma. And so we want to also, when I was looking at, for example, laws to protect intermediaries, mm-hmm. which is sort of the companies that host all your personal life, everything that is digital is related to our privacy, is hosted with private companies mostly. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to be able to protect those companies to host this data without the government being able to snoop into it. And these are sort of these always sound a little bit geeky, but in general, this is the reality we live in. We live in a reality where most of decision making is done behind closed curtains. And now, for example, people are very unhappy with the government and they can't do anything to get rid of it. We, the parliamentarians, can't do anything to get rid of them. Doesn't matter if they decided to bypass the parliament's process. Mm-hmm. And so we have to make sure that there are the necessary tools for the general public. We've also been talking about, and we'll be speaking for very radical stuff like, which is very common sense stuff, which is basic income. So that we can get rid of all these huge systems for, the welfare. Mm-hmm. So everybody would have basic income, and there've been done experiments with this to get rid of poverty in Canada and in some other places. So our systems are like, it's like we have this really old computer and we're constantly trying to put the newest systems in it, and it just doesn't work. So we have to allow ourselves to think in new solutions, and that is what Pirates are all about. We want to offer new ways of serving.
And you seem to have found resonance, especially with the young people. According to the poll, which gives you 29% now, 38% of voters between 18 and 49 would vote for you today. That is special, and that shows that you have the future in your hand.
Yes, and it's so important, and I'm really grateful for it because mm-hmm. I get opportunities to speak to young people quite often, both here in Iceland and elsewhere, and I'm always asking them to do this one thing for me and for themselves, and that is to start to think about what sort of future they want to live in and start to talk about it, because it seems to me that nobody knows where we're going, and it is not the role of politicians to create that vision. Mm-hmm. It is the role of societies, and then we will enforce that vision. And the people that are supporting us are the people that have to live with the consequences of our actions today. And I think I would really, and that's why I'm really pleased to have helped create a political movement that is consistently mostly young people. So they don't have to sort of walk up through a traditional party pecking orders. And I don't particularly like youth sort of movements inside parties and stuff like that, because I think young people should be given a platform to be engaged, because they dare to think outside the box. They dare to make things differently, and we need that so much inside politics. And unfortunately, the word politics has become a bad word, because people...
It's a 4-letter word.
Yeah, and people associate it with parties. Now, I've always been political because I have opinions. Having opinions is being political. I don't particularly like parties, and it might sound strange that I say that, having created two. But I think it is important that we are primarily here to inspire others to become pirates in their minds, to dare to do things differently, and to see themselves as in service, not in governing.
Before the last elections, when I listened to your platform, it sounded sort of geeky, as you said yourself, and I was like, nah, come on, that's nothing serious. But then you got 3 parliamentarians, and I have to say, you guys, I think you show some modesty, you show common sense in what you're doing there, what you're saying, and even though I'm not one of the young voters, I would even think about voting for you guys today. Do you feel that this approach of yours, this common sense approach that you have developed or used in the parliament, that is your strength? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And, we feel really humbled by all of this support, and we really realize that this is something that could vanish tomorrow. So we will just carry on being ourselves. That's the only thing that we know. And I think it is quite important. And when I first got in, because I've never had a desire to be in there, I really see myself in the role of being sort of service and trying to be useful. I promised to never allow myself to be the power that I've been given, and I very often forget that I'm a parliamentarian, and I never expect to be getting special treatment and stuff like that because I'm in this position. It's a really hard work if you take it seriously, and all of us, we're really lucky. We're all very different, the parliamentarians, and we're so lucky that we have different strengths each. And so, even if we're different, we've been able to sort of maximize impact by using our different skill sets. And but I think it is, I think it is a little bit appealing to people just to to have people that they expect to meet on the bus or whatever in there.
But going from a micro party with 3 parliamentarians, and now the poll shows you the biggest one with 19 just today. Isn't it a bit scary?
Yes, it is. It's very scary, and it's very important that I have, of course, one of the things I like to do, and it's fortunate that there are so many people like that like to think in the bigger picture. So we've been discussing that it might be, because very many people are unhappy about the fact that we didn't get to manifest all these values that we sort of discovered in us as a nation when we were discussing the new constitution. And same with the EU. I mean, majority of Icelanders don't necessarily want to join, but many more want to actually carry on, see the results, so that they can make an informed decision.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was thinking, I just put this forward this morning on Facebook. We have this group where pirates talk, and all sorts of people are not in the party. So I asked them, what do you think if we would, if it so happened that we would be big enough so that we had any authority before next election, that we would demand that the other parties that would be happy to work together would, before elections, show on the cards what they would do and make the governmental agreement before. And the governmental agreement would be very simple. It would be that we would call for national referendum if people want to carry on in the EU bid. And